Good evening, everybody. My name is Cindy Holmes, and I'm the director of the School of Intuition and Healing. I am super excited because we are doing number 2 in our series of intuition, and we have 2 of our psychic tutors with us this evening who are going to be reading billets for us and giving you all psychic readings, giving you all insights into your lives. So it's really going to be great. What I'd like to do just before we start is just ground us into the call and just allow us to be present with ourselves and just arrive. So if you can please check your grounding and just ground into your physical body, and either your anchor or your roots, drop them deep into the ground and connect with the center of the earth. And just feel your energy connecting with the earth and connecting with her infinite wisdom and bringing you into your body. So just really bringing it into your body and allowing this beautiful earth energy to flow in and around you, holding you steady, holding you grounded, holding you in an embodied state. We then center in the heart, and from the heart we go up to the highest point of light that you can reach. And then we connect with that energy and we allow that energy to flow in and around us. We place the whole of our conversation and our class this evening in a beautiful bubble of energy, and we just raise its vibration to protect us singularly and also as a group this evening. So now that you're feeling grounded and connected, I invite you to open your eyes. This evening is all about psychic development and specifically reading billets. It's a beautiful, powerful psychic tool, and it allows each and every one of you to receive a message. Let me introduce the psychics tonight. We have Taryn Nightingale, an accredited psychic and healer with the school. Taryn has been connected to the spirit world since a child. She has a 5-star rate on tarot and psychic readings online. She runs her own practice. She tutors both psychic and development and the healing course at the school. I've been with Taryn for some years over her development, and she's just grown into such a witness, such a tutor, such a psychic, and really supports our community in the work that she does. So a warm welcome to her. I will give her a chance to have a voice in a minute. And then we have Isabella. Isabella is a qualified healer and intuitive. She blends her psychological background with deep spiritual practices. Isabella also does beautiful cacao ceremonies and breath work, which I have been witness to on a number of occasions. She stays in London, close to me, and she too has grown from a student into a beautiful tutor and holds a wonderful space for our psychic development students. We're going to see both of them in action tonight, but I'd love you first to hear their voices. And I'm going to start with Taryn, and I'm going to ask Taryn to say hi and say a few words to you. And then the question to you, Taryn, that I'd like you to answer tonight is, how do you use your psychic abilities in the day-to-day of this modern, changing future world that we're living in?
Hello, Cindy. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone else. I'm so excited to see all of you here. It's such a blessing and an honor to be here this evening. I'm very excited for tonight, and I feel the energy is beautiful, and we're going to have some lovely readings come through. So, to answer your question, I was sharing earlier with a friend of mine that one of the things that my guide said to me when I asked him, why do I have my psychic ability? They had said to me, it's not to know the answer, it's to know the way. So the way I like to engage with my psychic ability is to really use that in terms of guidance to what my next step should be, in which direction I should go. So I love symbols. You know this. I love symbols and metaphors. And because I've got a deep relationship with the spiritual and believe we're constantly in conversation with the universe, and the more you tap into intuitive gifts and your psychic gifts, you start learning that actually it's very much about being in conversation. So I would ask for guidance on something. So if I'm unsure, I'd be like, if I'm meant to be somewhere, give me a clear sign that I'm meant to be somewhere. And I, for example, have a particular number that I like to work with. So when I see this number, then I know, oh, okay, I just spotted it. My soul is exactly where I need to be. And then what I'd also do is, if I know I'm learning a lesson, spirits will send that to me, and they'll send me, for example, 333. When I see 333, I know I'm learning a lesson. If I see an animal appear in my life, like habitually, so recently for me, it's been geckos, then I usually go, okay, so what is this animal's medicine bringing into my life? Why is this showing up? I actually had a situation with a client once where a mouse kept showing up in the space when I was working with this specific client, and there was a clear messaging around that and what I was being guided to work with when I was doing my client sessions. So yeah, that's sort of how I work with my psychic ability and use it in my day-to-day.
Thank you, Taryn. That's lovely. I pretty much do the same thing, and try to be my own psychic. And then often I'll also pull a daily card. The pulling the daily card for me has always been a really supportive way of getting my own information and help, kind of outside. Kind of removes you from your intuition a little bit as well when you're in your head about something. But thank you for that. That's beautiful. And now I'm going to go to Isabella. Hi, Isabella. Lovely. Isabella is sunning herself in Brazil, everybody. So it's really Taryn's in Cape Town. I'm in London, and Isabella is sunning herself in Brazil. Isn't she lucky? Hi, Isabella. So have a chat, and also I'd really like to know what surprised you the most on your journey to becoming a professional psychic.
Okay, so thank you, Cindy, for introduction. Oh gosh, my English is collapsing. I'm here like for 3 weeks, and I'm like mixing up, but it's a pleasure and honor to be here with everyone, and so beautiful to see how we can connect from different parts of the world, and we're all here in the same vibration, so that's really beautiful. And I think what surprised me the most, and I said this in a joke way, was becoming a psychic. I didn't think I had the skills, or I didn't think I could learn, because for me, being a psychic or being a healer, you either were born with that gift or there was no way of developing yourself. And I came into contact with this school several years ago, and here I am teaching. And also I have my own practice, so I see my clients, my private clients there, but also teaching what I once thought you couldn't teach. And I say this to all my students, I think I really truly believe the psychic development, any spiritual practice is not about going outside and doing things outside. It's going inwards and unlocking that potential that you have within you and the light within you, and going a little bit to what Taryn answered as well, I think, you know, when we start listening to ourselves and to our own intuition, you start trusting yourself more in the path that you're going. The doubts are kind of fading away because you just feel in your heart, and I think that was really surprising for me when I started listening to my own heart and the direction it was telling me to go. I used to be a person, I'm like always in doubt if I should I stay, should I go now? And you know, that light within really helps and guides me in all the decisions I make in my life. So that was really surprising when I understood that all answers were within me already. And I think that's the most powerful and beautiful thing that we can learn in this journey.
Isabella, thank you very much. And you know, while you were talking, I was reflecting on and have been, because I've been doing a lot of interviews for the healing course, and it's kind of that time of year that I'm chatting to a lot of people. And just hearing you say that, you know, I think that psychic development is a craft and a skill. But I think when one comes into the school, it's about individuals' transformation and journey. Because although you're learning to be a psychic or you're learning to be a healer, as you're learning to still yourself, your whole life stills, learning to be more intuitive. And so your life actually changes. You know, you also unfortunately see your shadow better when you are tuned and you quietening the mind. You're able to see, you know, your warts and all, your pretty and your ugly, and then sort of getting information on how to integrate that, how to learn from it. So I always think the school is not just learning these beautiful ancient arts of tarot and mediumship and intuition. I think it's more than that. I think it's about how that then shifts your life, how you become part of a spiritual community, how you get, you know, kind of, if I look on here, I know lots of you, I've met you, I've spoken to you, a lot of you, I know your life stories. So I think it's more than just learning that at the school. I think we're really doing that. So I just love to chat to people, and you know, coming out of these intuitives, I'm sure we're going to interview some of you about your life stories. But I know everyone's excited to get a message, so maybe I should just shut up now and get on to the main event, right? Because that's why everyone is here. Everyone's, yes, I see cheers, I see nods. Okay, I love the sound of my voice. Just saying. So, and it's a lucky thing because I spend a lot of my life talking. So it's a great thing that I like my voice. So I'm going to put a set of symbols up onto the screen. I'd like you to center again in your heart space before I put this on the screen, because you're going to choose two symbols tonight. You're going to choose a primary symbol, which is going to be, what is it that I need to know for now? So just what is it I need to know for now? And then you're going to choose a secondary symbol, which is, how do I go deeper? Okay? And then we're going to give our beautiful psychics 5 minutes. I pushed them an extra minute to get more information. They were very unhappy with me when they heard that. And they're going to then read for you for 5 minutes. So in essence, you're going to get a 10-minute reading tonight. So just focus. What is it you need to know for now? I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to give you a few minutes just to center into that. Can everyone see my screen and all the symbols? Oh, close your eyes. We need to go back. Sorry. There we go. So just tune into those symbols. What is it I need to know for now? What is talking to you? Which one jumps up at you about what you need to know for now? And choose your first one. And then a secondary one is, how do I go deeper? Ooh, I know which two I've chosen. Okay, So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to come back here and I'm going to ask Taryn to read the first symbol, which is this symbol, and I'm just going to let her attune, and I'm going to start the clock in a minute. Everyone got their symbols? Yeah? Everyone happy? First symbol, second symbol. Let's do this, psychics. Let's go for it. Starting the clock now. Taryn, unmute yourself.
So the first thing that stands out with me for this symbol is the color. So the pink is giving me a lot of softness. So people who've chosen this, there's something really important about embracing more softness in your life. But it's an interesting dynamic that I'm picking up on, because the softness needs to be kind of more directed to the self and the path. Because when we see kind of like the infinity symbol in the center, Spirit is also drawing my attention to the fact that there's that infinity symbol. So it's really softness for your path. I feel a lot of people in this space may even identify as very caring, sensitive, empathic individuals. But because we've got this infinity symbol, I keep getting drawn to that. There has to be an understanding that that compassion needs to be directed to the self and your own journey and your own path. This is because when we see the infinity symbol, there's something around reciprocity and really understanding giving and receiving, and giving and receiving. And a lot of people in this who've chosen this symbol may relate to possibly over giving. And Spirit wants you to find that balance within yourself again. And once you can find that balance of giving from a place where you really want to give, giving to give, not giving to get, and then being open to what comes your way and being open to receiving from others who want to give to you, you're going to restore that balance within yourself. And once you restore that balance within yourself, it's going to enable you to move on your path in a way that is going to flow a lot more. Again, with the giving and receiving that I'm seeing with this infinity symbol, there's a need to also understand, when do I rest? When do I take action? When do I rest? When do I take action? So there's something around a pause here, understanding the need to pause. Some of you might want to really move forward with your path in a very quick way and feel like, I need to be moving, I need to be shifting, I need to be changing. It feels like a lot of things have happened in 2025. I need to be moving forward. If you're relating to that energy, there's something around really taking a pause before you act, feeling what feels right, and then making the decision to move. And this, again, when I feel into that energy, it's really relating to that pink. This is how you're going to, pink being for me also self-love, lots of self-love coming through, and unconditional love for the self. When you can take that approach where it's that pause and then act, that's going to enable a lot more of a loving approach to yourself and your path, because then you'll be really listening to what actually feels right for you, instead of moving from a place where you feel like you need to do something because someone has asked you to, or because you feel pushed to do that. Okay. Secondly, with this kind of infinity symbol, I'm seeing, it's so interesting because I'm seeing a skate park, or like a sort of kind of race track. And so we really are talking about the path and movement on the path and how fast you move on that path. When you understand the need for reciprocity, things will fast track. But when you don't understand that give and take and pause and then act, the path is going to feel a lot crazier, and it's also going to feel sort of kind of unstable. There's also a strong call to adventure here, and really understanding the need for deeper adventure in yourself, like igniting that kind of adventurous spirit within yourself, and to be open to things not always moving exactly the way that you want them to move. By doing this, again, is going to be another deep act of self-love. And I get really strongly with this. The more that you act from a place of self-love on your path, the more you're going to align with that path, the more your path is actually going to serve you. A final message that comes through, and it was actually when I first saw this, was that some of you might feel, if we talk about a path, you've been going a little bit back in the past. That's because there's things in the past you need to reclaim and understand. So don't be afraid of that. Trust it.
Thank you so much, Taryn. That is wonderful. There are a couple of people who have just joined us, so I'm just going to go back, if I can, to the beginning. I'm really sorry. This slideshow is driving me a little bit crazy. I'm just going to go back here. So for those of you who have just joined, this is the choice of slides. We've already done number 1. So just, if I can invite you to choose a symbol that will indicate what it is you need to know for now, and then choose a second symbol, which will ask you to go deeper. So if you can just quickly do that, that would be wonderful. And then I am going to jump straight to this one over here. I'm going to show my slideshow there, and unmute yourself when you're ready, Isabella, and we can start. And let's go with this.
It's interesting because I knew the symbol was going to be mine. And what comes to me is that people that has chosen the symbol, it feels like, although it's a beautiful symbol, but it also feels part of a puzzle. And the message that is coming through is that, you know, to create this wholeness, it's part of, like, we can be so many part of ourselves that we need to put together to become whole. And sometimes, you know, the part of ourselves, it can be conflicting to us, because we sometimes think if we do something, we don't belong to another area. If we do the spiritual world, we don't belong into the corporate world, for example. And there is a really beautiful message that those pieces of yourself can coexist in the same place. And they're all parts of you that make this whole, that makes this beautiful being. And it's interesting because it's coming this really strong message, and I feel like in my body, this sense of like conflict, because sometimes we get a lot in our heads about all those parts of ourselves and how to integrate them. But this process is not a process of overthinking or analyzing. It's more a process of feeling and accepting the parts of yourself. You know, we're not all light. We all have our shadows, but that's also part of who we are. And there is a beautiful, like the blue for me, it's really calming, but it's also about communicating. But it's not a communicating with the outside, you know. And it's interesting because it's coming with it's coming back into the first question that Cindy asked me. But it's communicating with yourself from a place of truth, or from acceptance, a place of where you know your blind spots, you know your qualities, you know your light, you know your shadow. And it's bringing all together, because we can't create wholeness by rejecting parts of ourselves. And there is this beautiful flower calling me in the center of the symbol now. And it's almost our essence, you know, and if we know our essence, if we know truly who we are from a heart place, the flower is always the center, and it's really shining through in the center of the symbol, because it's like all parts of yourself and all the shadow work, all the contradicting parts of you can come together because you know your essence. So there is a beautiful invitation here, really and truly, to get to know yourself in the essence, you know, truly who you are, and coming from a place of acceptance as well. And the word forgiveness is coming to me. So it's interesting because I think when we truly accept ourselves, we must forgive ourselves as well in this path, in this journey that we are on. As I said, we're not all light or all dark, but there is parts of ourselves that sometimes we're ashamed of. Sometimes we can really, you know, be quite hard on ourselves. But there is this word coming through very beautifully, which is forgiveness. And people that chosen the symbol, I feel they've been quite hard on themselves in this journey. There is quite high standards for you to be and how society wants you to be, how your family wants you to be. And those standards are really for the others, but who you want to be for yourself, and find that in your essence, and forgive yourself for what you can't be, because maybe that's for the others, you know, and find that true beautiful flower in the center of that symbol, which is calling me out to, which is you. And once you accept yourself, once you forgive yourself for what you couldn't be, there is this beautiful message coming through of like acceptance, openness, to be whole, to be one, and made by all the parts of yourself, which is really beautiful and wholeheartedly, I would say. And that's it. You're muted, Cindy.
I was speaking a load of nonsense anyway. I was just saying that was Isabella's first time at doing this. So well done, Isabella. I think that was amazing. Please write how you got on with that in the chat. Share your experience would be good. And I'm going to add a new one. And we actually going back on this. So we're there and we're going back. Who chose the green heart? And when you're ready, Taryn, you can start, please.
The timer, though, it's okay. There we go.
I don't want to give you extra, right?
Okay, so the first thing that comes up with this symbol when I first looked at it was a lot of joy. So people who've chosen this, if you're in a space right now where you feel like you're not yet in joy, I almost feel like you're going to be there 2 or 3 weeks' time. And Spirit is really bringing through a strong message around enjoying whatever it is that you're doing, and being in joy when you do that. That's going to bring so much growth through for you. And I see it particularly because of the screen. There's this beautiful growth that's happening. And when I kind of look at the color, it feels really playful, and it's giving me this sense of inner child, but not that inner child that is wounded, rather the inner child that is your magical inner child. That part of you that always knew what your purpose was, that part of you that wants to do the fun things, that playful, that expressive side of you has really developed and healed and is wanting to show more of itself. And I really feel that Spirit's encouraging you to go more into that space, go more into play, and finding how even in the mundane, there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of play, because in doing that, you're really going to activate your joy. when I connected initially and I felt the strong energy of joy, when I feel that type of joy within my body, I know my spirit is activated. So I know that my individual spirit is activated. And I feel spirit itself is trying to push you into that space where you're acknowledging more of your own gifts, specifically spirit-led gifts, sort of soul gifts. I'm feeling like some of you are really good at baking. There's a lot of creativity that's coming. And I'm seeing a lot of kind of being a need to be outside more and in the sun. There's something around being in the sun and like taking in the light from the sun that's really going to help the energy body support more of this playfulness and this more youthful, childlike sort of expression that wants to come through. And obviously, we have this heart, and I feel through this heart, this is a lot about sharing that's coming through, but sharing with groups. That's what it feels like. There's a lot, like I feel there's certain people who may be feeling called to do like a healing circle here or being in community. And if you're feeling this is a push to really go into that space, because in that space I see you being a lot more elevated. I see your heart opening up, and I'm feeling connections being made with people who feel really aligned with you and your own sort of joy and what you're coming to express. There's a lot of uniqueness in this group as well. And it's only in showing that uniqueness that's really coming from that magical inner child that you're going to start attracting more of your community and soul family. For some weird reason, I also felt a relationship being brought up. So this feels like a new kind of relationship coming into your space that's going to be really inspiring, where you're going to feel like you want to share more of yourself. This can be as a friendship, or it can actually even be romantic for some of you. But this relationship is going to inspire more of the self. And spirit is really going, allow yourself to be vulnerable in this relationship, in how you even communicate in this relationship, because it's through that you're actually going to feel into parts of yourself that have gone unrecognized actually since you were a child. And it's going to actually lead you into understanding this essence of joy, understanding your spirit more, the more that you can lean into this vulnerability. A lot of growth happening here and a lot of healing still going on, healing also around heart space, around the relationships. The more you can be vulnerable, I see more healing happening in that space for you as well.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Let me just bring that little timer up there. Let me go to the next one, which is the red with the triangle. And Isabella, I'm going to just jump straight in there. For those of you who could resonate with that beautiful green heart and that lovely reading with Taryn, pop it in the chat if you feel up to it. And I'm going to start the clock for you now, Isabella.
The interesting as first as when I connected with the symbol, it came the word warning. And it's connected because of the red. It connects me straight away with the root chakra. So it's to really find, I think people who chosen that symbol might be finding difficult to ground and to fully accept the place where they are. And I think, you know, the grounding and the root chakra talks about a lot about our belonging and where do we belong? Where do we set our roots? And I think the warning is exactly to that. It's like, where do you belong? Where are your roots? And might be that you might be feeling a bit unsettled, a bit out of place, questioning some things in your life, where to go, where to allow your roots to settle as well. So, but it's interesting because the triangle for me, it's coming like I have an oracle card, and it's coming this image to me, and it's one that is it's a grounding card, and it's a grounding energy, but also about structure and about feeling safe. So the message here is to interesting. Maybe you're looking too much outside and where to ground yourself, where to find what place should you go, where, and maybe you're forgetting the most important basic one, which is the first house that we have, which is our own body, our own sacred temple. So the invitation here of this card is to go back inwards, to find that belonging within yourself. Because once you find that, it doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what job you have, it doesn't matter the place you live, you feel that you belong in this lifetime. And talking about this lifetime, that's a very interesting one that is coming very strongly now, but it's about accepting your life. It's the red, again, the red for me is vitality, connects us with our blood, with the root chakra. So it's connecting with the gift of life that you have in your hands right now. Sometimes we can take life for granted and do not, we don't appreciate so much because of the challenges and the difficult situations that we have in life. So there is a real invitation here for you to look how beautiful you are, the life that you have, the health that you have, and the things that you already have in your life that sometimes we can take for granted. But we all have a place to live. We all have food on our table. We all have the basic needs met somehow. And that's something itself to be grateful, but also the life that we have, and accepting that, grounding yourself and belonging to that, taking your life in your own hands, rather than, because there is something that go with the flow, and that's really beautiful because you also accept life as it comes, but you also need to co-create what you want to have in your life. So there is that part of go with the flow, but there is that part of like, where do you want to go? And it's interesting because it's connecting with the first symbol of like who you want to be in this world. What is your essence? And once you find that, and the triangle for me, it's very sacred. And, for me, it's a structure that connects us. For me, it's body, mind, and spirit. And, we are all connected that way. So look at all aspects of yourself to bring that together and look that inwards to find where you belong. Because if you're not belonging to yourself, you're not going to belong anywhere else. So find that within you and accept life, accept that as a gift, which is a gift. There are so many people, like so many spirits that would like to be here right now in this time of transition and growth, but you are. So make them.
Thank you, Isabella. That was amazing. Thank you very much. And I'm going to go straight on to the next one, where Taryn, I will start the clock when you unmute yourself. We are halfway through, everyone. Hopefully you've got a second symbol in the second row. And I'm going to start the clock now, Taryn.
Okay, so the first energy that came when I looked at this was a lot of mental strain. So it literally almost like hit me straight in the center of my head. So much so I actually feel like I had to go. And I feel that there are overthinkers who have chosen this symbol. And also, if you're not identifying as an overthinker, there's a lot of analysis that's going on. And I'm even hearing analysis paralysis and a lot of trying to think something into being and think something into sense and trying to piece something into sense very much from a thinking space. I just feel thinking. And it feels quite repetitive as well. But through that thinking, what I'm feeling is happening is that there is actually a confusion that is happening, and who's ever chosen this is trying to think through the confusion instead of recognizing that confusion itself is a sign of a process happening. And when a process is happening, you're actually leveling up. So if we look, we've got several triangles here. And just as Isabella's mentioned, the triangle is quite sacred. And if you look at this, you could count, I don't even know how many triangles I can count here, but there's a lot of them. And just looking at all of them, I feel like Spirit is trying to confirm and tell you that all these different aspects of whatever problem or mental conundrum, mental conundrum that you're trying to make sense, work through, it's actually the divine, infinite intelligence piecing things together and creating things and reshuffling things for you in your life so that you can elevate yourself, because you're moving into into a different dynamic, different space. So trying to think too much of this is actually going to hinder the process. The best way is to actually do things one by one. So remember, I spoke about there's so many triangles I could count here. So even when I'm doing it, I'm really being encouraged to slow down and look at one triangle at a time. And instead of trying to solve a huge problem, some of you are creating really big things and putting things together that have a whole bunch of different pieces involved, and also different viewpoints, I'm hearing lots of different voices, different opinions. You've got to take a step back and look at things that like taking one piece at a time. Because even if you look in the center of this the center of these two triangles that make a star, we've got one triangle made up out of three triangles. And you've got to understand each part of the piece of just that center triangle, how that then creates a diamond, how that then extends out further to a bigger triangle, and then having this other kind of triangle. And all of that makes the star. And the important thing around that, when I'm looking at the star and just seeing all of it, is that all of these pieces together, whatever you're trying to figure out, whatever process you're going through, it's going to lead you to a solution. You're going to find a solution, and the solution is going to make sense to you, but you've got to let that process happen. For those of you who are working on creating this, is some big dream, some big project, something that's really complex that involves the buy-in from others as well, I feel it's going to work out. But you've also got to believe in your ability to shine your star. And shining your star, meaning that not trying to be like any other star, being your own guiding light, keeping your focus on your vision, following your North Star, keeping that direction and keeping the course. Also, not trying to be like other stars. And all the success that you're building through what you're creating comes from and through these different experiences and parts of yourself, and picking what works best for you. What works best for you. And that's important to understand.
Thank you very much. Surprise, surprise, that was my first symbol. So, I think those of you who know me, there are always many triangles going on in my head. So, yeah, that was great. So anyone who chose that really resonated with me. Thank you. And I now need to go back to my little app. Got lots of things going on this desk. Right. Let's go to the next one. And when you're ready, I am going to start the clock, Isabella. Yeah.
The first thing that comes to me, very interesting, it's the womb. And because of the orange color, it takes me straight to the sacral as well. But the womb color is a place of creation. It's a place of the womb color, sorry, the sacral color. And the womb is a place of creation, of birthing new ideas. And it's interesting because there is this circle, and it's interesting because when I focus on the circle, I immediately see the snake, and the snake and it connects me. Oh my God, it's connecting me also with the tarot card of the world. And it's really interesting because like the cycle, there is a cycle, and there is so many elements here. Let me try to Yeah, so it's interesting because they're all coming together, and the womb is this place of creation, and the snake for me is this animal, this powerful animal of healing, but also of transformation. And I think, and I do believe that like the womb and the sacral, and talking about more like the sacral, it's a place of birthing new ideas, and having the snake coming through as well, it does remind me of, allowing yourself, whoever chose the symbol, allow yourself to be touched by the healing that is happening in your life and transform that into new ideas. Things maybe that you always thought about it, maybe that you always wanted to do, but you didn't have the courage to, but somehow it's starting to come through, and that idea is starting to taking shape, but there is fear holding you back. And the fear for me, it's the little dot in the middle of the symbol. And it's almost saying to you that like, keep going. The fear is a little dot in this beautiful circle. And, when I connect with the world, the cards, the tarot cards, it's the completion of a cycle. It's the completion of something that you've been wanting for a really long time. And maybe now that's time for you to birth the idea. That dot also brings me that not only the fear, but also that little idea that is there, ready to grow, ready to expand. And, you're coming out of a cycle, and a new cycle is beginning. So take that opportunity to birth those ideas that have been waiting, or you've been thinking about it and wondering about it. Maybe that's your time and invitation that they are ready to come through. So an invitation for you to also looking into what is holding you back, and why is that holding you back. And maybe it's coming to me like fear of being seen, fear of being rejected. And there is a beautiful thing here, like there is a beautiful message here, and it's really powerful to just go, just get out of your mind and allow yourself to jump into the vitality of the orange and birth this new idea. Also, like the circle for me as the snake is it's the completion and the new cycle beginning. So allow the transformations that have been happening in your life to take shape and take you to where you want to go. But also this symbol, it's bringing me so much things. It's also bring like an aim, know where you want to go, know who you want to be, and focus. Focus on that dot, on that end or that aim where you want to go, and go with it. There will be fear, there will be challenges, but if you're true to yourself and you know the path is aligned with your heart desires, there is nothing holding you back. And there is the wholeness again coming through. So you have all in your hands to do and to, cut that cake and make the plastic.
Cut the cake. Thank you very much. And we move on to the next one. And I'm going to end that one. And Taryn, off to you. The second last one. Or your last one.
Okay, so obviously I see moon first, but the first thing that came up was really beautiful, divine feminine energy being activated in people who've chosen this specific symbol. And in a way, almost discovering a sense of self through this activation. But what's important, Spirit is saying, is you've really got to be with the process of this, with this kind of activation that's coming through around the divine feminine. And what that means is being in the sensuality of your body, enjoying food deliciously, enjoying the pleasures of life, being present to simple things, things that I don't want to say take for granted, but haven't been seeing. And things that it's almost like your eyes sort of need to open up a little bit more, because when I even see the moon in the center, that moon is still revealing things. There's so much more that must be revealed to you, but it will only be revealed to you if you are staying present and allowing this kind of new energy that wants to flow through your body, and this opening of strong feminine energy within yourself that wants to come through, to play with it, work with it, be with it, step by step, little bit by little bit, delicious thought by delicious thought, touch by touch, smell by smell. There's a lot of presence being asked of you here. And because the more you can do that, I feel like you're going to bring through a greater presence of self. Because if we look at the color, we've got solar plexus, but what it was bringing through really strongly for me is understanding your personal power. And your personal power is revealing yourself through this kind of divine feminine activation, but there needs to be a presence with the feeling into this. Because you're going to find, it's almost like you're going to find little discoveries about yourself that you wouldn't have if you try and move too quickly through different kind of seasons. Because the moon is a lot about seasons, right? Different cycles. And it's really appreciating those different cycles and fully respecting a lot about having respect and honor for the feminine body, the feminine within you as feminine, and moving with each cycle, because each cycle is bringing through its own gift, its own transformation. It's almost like its own little journey. And Spirit's almost like saying she thinks she's on this one journey. So we're speaking about this kind of divine feminine and unlocking within you, but it's almost like there are multiple little journeys and different realities that Spirit kind of wants to gift you, but you've got to be present for it and allow it to reveal itself to you. You are in a process of revealing yourself to yourself. There are certain things that are sitting within the subconscious. I don't feel that they're negative, but they need to be understood. And that requires patience. It really does require patience. And again, presence. I feel I'm almost getting the sense of what would be really good for people in this group would be to almost sit opposite yourself in a mirror for some reason, and have a really aware, self-aware conversation where you're asking yourself the type of questions you wished someone else would ask you, because in that there's going to be a lot of revelation for yourself around what it is that you're bringing in this season of your life, but also what you're birthing and what is being birthed through you, and what the season of your life is trying to reveal to you. Don't be afraid of not knowing. Don't be afraid of not knowing, because I just saw dark moon in the dark. It is safe to not always know. Yeah.
And there we go. Taryn, you are now done for the evening. Well done and thank you. Let me bring up my app. Where are you? It's funny, sometimes I just cannot find where I am on this. There we go. There's my clock. And we go here and we add the next one. And those of you, a complicated, interesting, fascinating symbol. Isabella, are you ready to go?
Mm-hmm. The symbol for me, the first word that comes into my mind is community. And it's interesting because I feel somehow my symbols were all connected, the messages, and the strongest message that comes through is you don't have to do it all alone, you know, and sometimes the spiritual journey can feel like that, and you might be feeling like that right now. Because when we start our spiritual journey or we embark in our spiritual journey and knowing truly who we are, some people will disconnect from us. Some people will be left behind, and that's just because your energy doesn't resonate with their energy anymore. And accepting that in the same way we shared the weight that we were carrying, that we shared the luggage that we were carrying, some people needed to be shared as well. And we need to set boundaries. So I think I really feel the boundaries coming through. And there is and it's interesting because it feels a very specific message coming through, setting your own boundaries. If you've been overgiving, if you've been overdoing to please people, it's time for you to do for yourself. It's time for you to close that circle and bring the triangles, bring all that beautiful geometry inwards. And that's what, like, it's closing that's like symbol is closing down, but keeping all the geometry inside. So the invitation here is to, like, shed away, including people, including situations that no longer serves you, and allow yourself to nurture, take care of yourself, give all the love, all the attention that you devoted to other people to you. And that will start, you will feel that change. And again, when we start working on ourselves, we start changing our vibration. And that, unfortunately or fortunately, that will bring some people apart. And there is a very strong message about this. It's okay. It's okay to let go of who doesn't resonate with your life anymore. It's okay to put yourself first and take care of yourself first. It's okay to be a little bit selfish and look after yourself and nurture yourself and give that all attention and everything to yourself. It's okay to feel alone sometimes, because in this journey, and when you start really stepping into your power and saying what you need and who you are, people will start maybe not enjoying that as much. But then new people will come into your life. And that's why the first word came is community, because then like-minded souls will come into contact with you. People that resonate with your energy, people that want to grow and want to see your success, people that want to grow together, people that want to see you happy, that want to see you whole, and not only parts of yourself, people that accept you in the same way you accept yourself. So also a beautiful message coming through is we can't expect from others what we can't give to ourselves. So you can't expect to be loved if you don't love yourself. You can't expect to be recognized if you don't recognize your own light and your own strength. And so give that all to yourself and the things around you will start to change. And maybe the recognition and the value that you expected others to give you from this lack place will start flowing to your life, because you're going to be full, you're going to be whole. We can only give from a full glass. If we're giving from an empty glass, we're giving what we don't have, and that start creating balances in your life. So the symbol, it's beautiful balance. There is a beautiful geometry. It's all placed very carefully. So be that careful with your life and how you see yourself, how you nurture yourselves.
Fantastic. Well done, everybody. We will take a few questions if there are specific questions. Janine, you had your hand up ages ago. Can we help you with it? Do you still have that burning question? Just unmute yourself and ask our psychics or myself.
Hi, ladies. No, I didn't have a question. I think I was just responding to something that you said. So, yeah, sorry.
You were just putting your hand up. There wasn't a question. Before we go, does anyone have any questions for us? I hope you all received information. If something didn't resonate with you, open your mind, soften your heart, and see if something resonates over the next few days. Don't fight it. Don't defend yourself against. If they said something, lean into it. You know, what persists, you must go through and go forward. So if Taryn or Isabella said something that niggled you a bit, open your mind, soften your heart, give it some spaciousness, and see if it then is able to support you. These were lovely messages about the inner work you need to do, moving forward, looking inside, lots of joy. There was lots of positivity, lots of transformation. So, you know, let's lean into this. Even if you're having a really crappy time, lean into the love, lean into the energy. It's always really helpful. I'm so glad we've got a couple of questions. Corey, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, thank you. The question is that is recorded. Can we hear that again?
Absolutely. You will receive a recording when we email you. If you registered through Meetup, you need to just send us a private message and we will make sure that you somehow get it. I'm not quite sure that it's way above my pay grade to know how Meetup works. So you just need to send a private message in Meetup and one of my team will make sure you get a copy of the recording. But yes, we have recorded it so you can listen to the message again.
Wonderful. And there is on Meetup, we can send you a message and then to ask for the recording.
That's correct. Yeah, if you ask, I will mention to my team to post it tomorrow, but in case that slips our communication, please just send a message because yes, there is a recording and of course you can get one. Thanks, Corey. Mark.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Thanks, Taryn and Isabella, by the way. Hi, Isabella. And for either of you or both, I was wondering, when you're noticing, it's a little bit on the mechanics side, if there is such for you, is if you notice where messages come in from, is it say behind or from below or the front, or, you know, like from a physical standpoint, is that part of your process, or is there something else that is either of your sensing? Does that make sense what I've said? Oh, you're both on mute. Okay.
So I'll go first. So for me, and this works differently for everyone, right? Because we receive messages in different way. I'm quite clairsentient and also very clairvoyant and also clairaudient. What tends to happen for me when I can feel that I've gotten into receiving messaging is I can feel like a sort of, it's like an excitement, but also like a really strong kind of flow of energy moving up my body like this. And then I can feel I'm in flow, and often I literally also feel like my mind kind of stops working, and my head feels like it's very much in an open, very receptive space. So that's how it works for me.
Okay, thanks.
Isabella, are you different?
I think for me is for example, the orange symbol, I was receiving so many information that I got a bit like, okay, where do I go? But I hear words, I have visuals and sensations in my body as well. Sometimes when it comes from behind, it's normally a spirit, or, you know, and then it gets a bit more into mediumship. But then if there is a spirit or someone, a loved one coming through, I sense from behind. But normally, yeah, I would say it's more visual for me, and the sense of knowing. For those my students, they know I struggle with declare names, but the sense of knowing for me, it's the strongest one. And when I get into the flow, I think similar to Taryn, my mind just, my logical mind is just off, and it just flows, and I just like see words, the sensations connect with the visuals, and I just know how to convey the message.
Great, thank you both.
Thank you. Lovely answers. Rachel H.
Hello, hi everyone.
Hello, Rachel H. I haven't seen you for ages. Lovely to see you.
Nice to be back. Hi. I've got a general question. This came up because I work with a medical intuitive, and my question basically I asked. She's taught me how to be like a human pendulum, basically.
Yeah.
So there were things. So I asked the question about, because I'm still like not trusting myself with the human pendulum, and so I asked, like, because there's a conference coming up in a month's time, and there's lots of speakers and events at this conference, and I didn't know which. I feel drawn to certain talks and workshops there. So I would imagine that would be my gut telling me I should go, or like because I'm really interested. But she asked me to basically test, like ask my higher self, because sometimes your higher self will tell you what is better for me to go and listen to a certain talk rather than what I would really feel drawn to. So it made me think about the distinction between that and what I would have assumed was my gut feeling. So I don't know how to my question is like, how do you distinguish between your higher self and your gut?
So I'm going to speak into that. Your gut, an old-fashioned way of intuition was a gut feeling. I have a gut feeling I shouldn't go. I have a gut feeling not to get onto that.
Right.
I think as we evolve spiritually, we bring that into the heart and get a much higher sense. So the pendulum of the body, often when we're asking a question for ourselves and we use a pendulum, we can will the sway of the pendulum, or do you know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes our personality, our gut, and our ego gets in the way or our mind gets in the way if we're doing it for ourselves. If I have a question where my mind is getting in the way, I'll phone Isabella and say, should I go to this conference, and what should I, these are the 3 things. Can you get an answer for your pendulum? And I'd let somebody do that who is not necessarily connected with that energy or will influence the energy. But there's a real intuition we get. It's almost like a feeling that this is the right. This feels like I just need to do it. It's heartfelt, and that is often for the higher heart. If that answers, I think it's a discernment, and it can be very subtle. I don't know if Taryn wants to add to that, or Isabella wants to add to that. No. Does that answer your question, Rachel?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Thanks.
Good. Anybody else? Everybody, thank you so much for joining. I've popped a few things in the chat. If you want to join our Foundation in Psychic Development, I've put a link in there. Go to our website, book an interview with Taryn, Isabella, or Shaka. They run the foundation. The other thing is that we're back on the 24th for those of you who are celebrating various holidays, there's Easter, there's Passover. I think there are some other holidays for other faiths. So just wishing everyone to be safe at this time. If you're traveling, stay grounded, stay in your heart space. We're back in a couple of weeks with Soleil, who does a fabulous evening of tarot. If you haven't done one of her masterclasses, please join. It's always great insight and great fun. And then any of you who are still sitting on the fence regarding the online healing course or in person in London, and we could squeeze one more person into the Cape Town in person healing course, reach out to the school, reach out to me. If you're confused of your development, please book a chat with me. I love talking to all of you and meeting all of you. And then lastly, Taryn and Isabella, what a feast tonight. Thank you so much for just such beautiful messages, such heartfelt. I feel uplifted. I can feel the energy in the room. And then, of course, to each and every one of you for showing up, because if you didn't show up, it would be a really sorry event. So thanks so much for sharing, bringing your heart energy. It's been an amazing evening. Keep well, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks to have some fun with Soleil and Tarot. Night, everybody. Goodbye. Thank you.